So it looks like Love and Marriage Huntsville star Melody Cherie Rodgers is confirming in a new conversation with Carlos King that she was the one that had Martell arrested for harassing text messages. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So when we originally reported on the Martell arrest, just maybe like a couple of weeks ago, not even, we told you we weren't sure if it was Melody or the mistress, Coleslaw, aka Ariane. Well, now, in a celebration for her millimeters, Melody is revealing that she is the one behind this recent arrest. Just to remind you, Martell was arrested back on January 9th for third-degree domestic violence, harassing communications. We explained in previous videos on what that means, how much time you could possibly serve, not a long time. But we also said it didn't surprise us based off the behavior that we saw on reality television and what we had been hearing in these Huntsville streets. So Martell subsequently released a statement from his publicist at the time. And I want to emphasize one part of the statement where he says, Martell remains committed to being a devoted father and maintaining a positive and healthy co-parenting relationship with Miss Rodgers and Miss Curry for the well-being of their children. Despite the challenges presented, Martell will continue to focus on his role as a responsible parent and contribute positively to his community. So even in this statement, he wasn't confirming whether or not it was Ariane or Melody. Well, now Melody is confirming her for herself. But before we get into that statement, Carlos King also addressed at this event Martell's recent statement on social media that last scene from the finale was pre-produced. They had told him to bring the flowers. He felt like he was being set up, and he was saying that this is not real reality. Well, Carlos says that's not true. Martell is lying. Are we surprised?
Lies! The lie!
We are not. We are not, because Martell, you have no credibility. You have no credibility. And look, at the end of the day, it is one person versus another person. However, technically, it's Carlos and Melody confirming that that's not true. Martell, you have shown obsessive behavior towards Melody on camera. I can only imagine what it's like off camera. But you know, I went on a tirade, I think last season, that Melody should not be filming with Martell. It's like she's filming with her alleged abuser. Only for us to find out in this interview that they had to have security on set anytime that Melody was filming with Martell, just in case. But Melody says in this new conversation that the process that led up to her getting this warrant for Martell's arrest and his harassing text messages. As always, we cite our sources. Shout out to the YouTube channel, What's Happening. I'll be posting their full video in the description so that you guys can hear the full millimeters celebration, okay? Because there's other details that I'm not going to get into here that you might want to listen to. So go give it a like, a comment, and a follow, and a subscribe, okay? So let's get into what she says here.
Your ex-husband was recently arrested. Where were you? I'm happy New Year, Lord Jesus. Where were you when you found that out?
I was actually at home preparing for a scene for your show. Those are stars.
She really was.
I was at home getting glammed up for a scene. You know, I understand everyone's feeling of somewhat of like the vindication, right? And just the it's about time. And for me, believe it or not, while I'm there too, it also wasn't a matter that was fun for me. It was not, I wasn't at home cheering and laughing and like, oh yay, no. wasn't. And Lauren is here. She was at the house with me doing my makeup, and she can attest to this. I was actually, for one, I was wondering about my children. Let's keep it a bug. Any mama out there knows. That's the first thing. Is like, where my kids at though? Like, how are my kids? Where are they?
And not to cut you off, she's telling the truth. I called her to check in on her, and she was frazzled. And she said, "Carlos, thank you for calling me, checking on me, but I'm worried about my kids. I need to find my kids." Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I will say that. And my brother says this about me too, because he's like, I bet if he had came to you and apologized, knowing you and how your heart is, you probably would have forgave him and never even filed a sign the warrant. And he may be a little right, but maybe not. But what I will say is, anytime you have to go through with making such a tough decision that you know impacts your children as well, that's always tough, man. That's always tough. But I think there had been just so many transgressions, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And no matter how many times I sat back at times and tried to keep my mouth closed and see, you think if I don't say nothing, it'll die down. They'll leave me alone, just please leave me alone. But I also have a breaking point too, where I'm like, okay, they ain't leaving me the hell alone. And so, I did say that. And so, when I made that decision, it was back in August, September of last year, sorry, we were 2023. I actually flew Lauren in, and I said, I gotta go do this, and I need somebody to be here with me to make sure I do what I know I need to do. So she was like, all right, I'm on my way. And she flew in and drove me, because I had never gone and had to, sign for a warrant, press charges, do any of that. So I didn't even really know where to begin. I was just hitting places. She drove me to those places, gave, the strength of her, my mom, my team. They knew what I was doing in the moment. And when the magistrate said, when I showed him the evidence, and he was like, do you want a warrant? I said, yes, I do. He said, all right, I'm about to go get your warrant. That was August. Somebody said should have did it for both of them. Well, let me tell you why that part for that doesn't work for both parties, because it's based on, legally wise is another piece, but the lawsuit wise is another piece. The warrant, the direct piece has to come from exactly from that person. So, the source, right? And so, after that, when I filed it and said sign it and it was signed, I'll be honest with y'all, my attorney said to me, hey, listen, you know his address. All we gotta do is get a PI, make the call, and tell him when he's home, they can go pick him up. Me being me, I said I believe in divine timing. I'm not doing all of that. Now, I've done my step, I'm gonna let God do the other one whenever he says so. So, I sat around all those months, wondering, I know it's out there though, but they flying and stuff, but I don't know, but it's out there. And lo and behold, Carlos, after talking to you about prayer and letting God show you, and it wasn't me, I didn't make a call. If you have a warrant and you go to certain places trying to get certain things, that pops up. And that's what happened.
So apparently Martell went and did something, and because he had this warrant out, he was arrested. And look, we suspected when we first reported on this arrest that it could be Melody, it could be Ariane. I think a lot of people are leaning more towards Ariane because he was still very much around Ariane at the time. However, you heard what Melody said, that she had done this back in August, September. She could have easily had the police go to his door, but she had sort of left it out there so whenever it was to happen. Look, I also think that she was sort of making sure that she had things in place in regards to, God forbid, something happened to her, that there was some sort of tracking about what has been going on between the two of them. Again, we want to say that this is alleged. He hasn't been convicted. I'm sure he will have to answer for this in court at some point. However, look, what we've seen on the show is a lot. And this is an edited show. And this is also when they're on camera. Can you imagine what we don't see? We also don't know what these text messages entailed. And like Martell's Instagram statement said, these types of allegations can hurt someone's career. So I do want to point out these are allegations. But like I've said countless times over watching and recapping Love and Marriage Huntsville, I'm not completely shocked at all that there are harassing text messages allegedly from Martell Holt towards Melody Rodgers. I'm not surprised. I am surprised that she's confirming that she is the one behind this recent arrest. But I'm glad that we can kind of clear that up and it's not just sort of out there for us to like, was it Ariane? Was it someone else? Was it a family member? No, she's saying it was her. And I think it's important for us to know it was her. Again, because if you look at the history of women that are in abusive relationships, it's important to lay the groundwork of evidence, proof, and to let the public know, to let family members know that this is going on to protect not only the woman involved or person involved, because, you know, it could be men too, but also children. And we have to remember that they have young children that they still have to co-parent. And that's hard, especially when you're in the middle of a situation like this. We were just talking about this with the Kiki and Darius situation. They still have to co-parent this young child, but it's also a very contentious, allegedly abusive situation. It's not healthy for the children. It's not healthy for the people involved. Guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to Melody and what she had to say, what Carlos had to say about Martell lying. Based on what I hear them saying here, I don't think Martell will be returning for season 7 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. We kind of thought he shouldn't have returned this last season based off of what we've been watching on the show. Let's continue the conversation there. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll ask you, follow my lead.